We're celebrating in the streets of Caracas today as supporters of Hugo Chavez revel in the victory. He pulled in 55% of the vote after some shakiness, worries that his challenger might take over. But not so much celebrating in the bond markets, where Venezuela 10-year bond, the yields are starting to shoot up. Raul, you've had a pretty deep dive into this. Why are we seeing the reaction that we are? He was expected to win.
Well, what we're seeing is a very big case of essentially wishful thinking. The bond market had decided that this was one of the best chances that the opposition had of unseating Chavez.
And it was. I mean, it was as close a race as he's really seen.
Yeah. It is. It has been. It has been. But, you know, however, there were certain pollsters, the more reputable pollsters, were pointing that essentially he was 10 points ahead. And, you know, a lot of people thought,
but the bond market
there might be a surprise.
Sort of overlooked that, sent yields almost to a record low. But there are other factors in this. I mean, even though he's won, there's more wishful thinking going on, isn't there?
There's a lot of wishful thinking.
In sort of a macabre sort of way.
The idea is that he conceivably, because he is a recovering cancer patient, his term could end anytime within the next 4 years. And if that's the case, a new election would have to be called for. So the idea is, you know, there might be a chance still for the opposition.
But even if that's
win.
true, even if his health is in question, the win gives him the opportunity to now change the Constitution, entrench his policies more.
Essentially entrench his policies. The Congress is still pro-Chavista. So he could get, you know, a special law to allow him to pass anything he wants without actually Congress serving as a check and balance. So that could take over for the next.
And there are questions as this affects a lot of different industries, oil, mining. Talk us through a little bit about.
Well, especially the mining industry hasn't been touched much by Chavez, and at this particular point in time, his next plan is essentially to overhaul the industry and come up with a new law and give the government essentially majority stakes over all different ventures.
More dangerous policy.
Essentially. And then
what about foreign oil also is another sort
well,
of big
oil
question.
essentially, right now the government has a controlling stake in every single project.
Yeah.
But what he can do is essentially raise more revenue from the different players in the sector. He can squeeze them, higher royalties, higher taxes, if he feels that what he's getting at this particular point is not enough. And that is a very real possibility because spending in Venezuela continues to go up every
so the fiscal problems potentially get worse, hurts the debt problem.
And then you have the food industry, which is key for him. You have Polar, which is the biggest food company in Venezuela, privately owned still, but he has threatened it several times. Now that he has so much support, it's a possibility that he could finally decide this is the time to push forward and nationalize it.
Changes the calculus quite a bit for investors.
Definitely.
All right, we will keep an eye on the Chavez regime, and we'll be back with more Breaking Views tomorrow.